Ooh, this is exotic. Muscle Cat Media. Nice. Cultural.
It is Baseball Expats Express going on a Monday to accommodate our friend Rolsey, who is in chaos at the moment. He's got an off day because he is swimming in hundreds of millimeters of rain that have happened in Taiwan at the Women's Baseball World Cup. Women's Baseball World Cup preview is up on all our channels right now with Amy McCann. Thanks for Amy for stopping by and breaking that down. We're going to be chatting, our usual MLB, World Baseball betting with all the crew, breaking down what's going on. First off, we've got Rolsey and Spoon in the house. Rolsey, let's start with you. Where are you, and are you safe?
You ever seen the movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner?
I've seen the movie about the whale, the Free Willy.
That's not the same movie. Although there's probably just as much water in the two of those movies as what I'm enduring now. What'd you say? Hundreds of millimeters. What would you call 100 mil? Like, we've started looking at the weather forecast in centimeters, which is not good. But what would you call 100 millimeters? Is that a decameter? Decameters of rain, I guess.
Decameters of rain, yeah. Because 100 mil, yeah, it would be. I guess so.
Sure.
A liter is 1,000.
There's been like a third of a meter of rain in the last 2 days in Taiwan. So. Not a lot of baseball, a lot of preparing for baseball, but we've yet to play. So glad I could jump on and see both of your faces this afternoon. Nothing gives me greater joy, except I don't know about that hoodie that Spoon's got on.
I like it. Championes, the Adelaide Gigantes. Let's go, Spoon. That is a cool. I'm assuming you're wearing that because Logan O'Hoppe, Adelaide Giant legend, got called back up to the major leagues and played with the Texas Rangers. The only thing I can think of.
That's definitely the only reason I'm wearing it, not because it's cold. I mean, we've got a couple of mils of rain here in Adelaide, so I know what Rose is going through right now.
Yeah, it was, dude. I had to take my dog for a walk at a different time than normal this morning. It was tough.
Yeah, routine breaking is no good.
That is really the most first world problem. I feel like you have a lot of first world problems, Eric. Like most of your problems, I would argue, would be like hyper first world problems, but that may take the cake. Hello to those that are listening in parts of the world that struggle to get clean water. Eric had to walk his dog at a slightly inconvenient time this morning.
Hey, Spoon knows what I'm talking about. That was annoying. Dogs are creatures of habit. Instead, I took her to the car wash this morning as well. Took her around the block and put her in the car, and we went to the car wash. It was very exciting. So, we took her on a car ride instead. Very exciting morning here on rainy Adelaide. Just crazy, man. Just crazy. Boys, weekend of baseball. Where do you want to start? I don't know. I know we don't want to talk about the Phillies and Cardinals finish, or do we?
I think we'd start there because I was going to ask Spoon, is this wild card race over in the National League? Because it kind of feels like it's over.
No,
look, it's over as far as there's no longer three teams fighting for two spots. There's two teams fighting for one spot. Like any hope of the Phillies. Like when we last probably checked in, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks ago, there was like two games between the D-backs and I reckon D-backs were even ahead of the Padres at the time and the Phillies. Now it's like the Phillies just look good. It looks very sustainable, right? And to your point in the group chat the other day, it's kind of insane how badly they started. I know they've added Luis Arias and Zach Wheeler came back a little bit later than opening day, but like it looks like a championship team as much as I don't like Philadelphia sports. I think there's every chance the D-backs and Padres still battle it out. They finished the season with three games in San Diego. So realistically, if you're within 3 games, you have a chance to go there and sweep, take the season tiebreaker, and ultimately clinch. If it gets much further than that, I'll be worried. I did say to the commissioner, shout out to the commissioner, never misses an episode. He came round to mine on Saturday to watch the D-backs and the Reds. That's how deep this has gotten for this guy, from not knowing a thing about baseball 4 or 5 months ago to like completely rearranging his Saturday so we can watch Eduardo Rodriguez and Nick Lodolo duel it out. It feels like maybe the Padres are having their run a little bit early. It seems like they really clicked. And Casey Myers went on the IL with a sprained ankle today. So the kind of couple of moves they made to shore up that pitching rotation, I'm not sure that's going to hold up down the stretch. D-backs get Corbin Burns back. Look, it's going to be close. I'd much rather be where the Padres are than the D-backs are. But as long as it stays within 2 to 3 games, it'll come down to the last few days of the season, the biggest few days of the season.
Yeah, they play each other the last week of the season. That is awesome. I was just looking at the Padres schedule before the pod because I kind of wanted to pose a question then. 31 games left to go. What's the number that the Padres are going to win? Because that will set the number that either your Diamondbacks or your Cardinals need to get to. Cardinals are 5.5 back, but for inclusion's sake, we'll keep them in this conversation. But the Padres 71-60 now. Here are their series, by the way. They've got the Pirates. They've got the Rays, tricky one. The Reds, not easy. The Yankees, a hard one. The Nationals, the Giants, the Rockies, the Marlins, a big one. And then they finish with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So 30 games with those opponents. How many of those 30 realistically are they going to win?
Realistically, probably like 18, which means the D-backs need 21. Especially, I mean, the games against the Padres are basically worth 2, right? So it's kind of like you remove that last series and then you see where things are before that. I think, look, I like that we're being inclusive and keeping the Cardinals in the discussion. I actually think the team that's still worth keeping an eye on are the Marlins. They're super streaky. Like they win 15 in a row, then they lose 10 in a row. They win 15. But that rotation is still so good. And Eury Perez is still pitching unbelievably. Sandy's pitching unbelievably. And yeah, they made like one move at the deadline where they sold, but they've still just been the same team all year with pesky hitters like Lopez and Edwards. And if you look at some of the series they've got down the stretch, they've got 3 against the D-backs, 3 against the Padres, like you just mentioned. But then in there as well, they've got games against Washington, the Royals, the Mets. Like I wouldn't be ruling Miami out just yet because they can do some damage against both the D-backs and the Padres with those series.
What about the Cardinals, Rolsey?
Can they go
24-6?
Well, no. I mean, it's been like again, look, I don't know. I'm in my feelings with this a bit because we weren't even supposed to be here this year, right? Like I think Baseball Prospectus had us at a 100-loss team, which there may not be one single 100-loss team this entire year, which maybe we can talk about that here in just a second. But the thing that's, I guess, killing me with this Cardinals team is that there was a stat they threw up on the broadcast the other day that something like 38% of their games have been decided by 1 run, which is an absurd stat, right? Like, and all you have to do is look back at the last 2 weeks. They lost in a walk-off to Philadelphia in game 1 of the series. They lost to a walk-off to Philadelphia in game 3 of the series. They lost in a walk-off against Cincinnati during the week. They lost in a walk-off against the Cubs last week. It's like it just keeps happening, right? We talked about how bad this bullpen is, even with Riley O'Brien, and then Riley O'Brien gives up 5 runs or 6 runs with 2 outs in the 9th inning of a 4-0 game today, right? So I think it's a team that is so young that is still learning. And I thought maybe before this road swing started that they were a chance to maybe go on a bit of a run. And I think that Joshua Baez injection was good for the team. They looked like they were having fun, but I mean, they were asked to play 11 games in 12 days on the road, and they actually finished better than 500 on that road trip. And here they are still 5.5 games back. Like, you can't play any better than that, right? You couldn't have asked for any more. So to think that this team's going to get to 88 to 90 wins, I think is unrealistic. Like, they probably don't have 22 more wins in them. That's where they need to get to 88. And I think you've got to get to at least 88 wins to get into the playoffs in the National League. So I think the season is over for all intents and purposes. But as a Cardinal fan, I mean, you're obviously encouraged by what you've seen this year. It's just frustrating that they haven't been able to turn it on and they haven't been able to win so many close games that they've been playing.
Couple questions then, some trivia for you. Which team in Major League Baseball has played in the most one-run games this year?
The Marlins.
The LA Dodgers have played in the most one-run games. They're 26-18 in them. Who has the worst record in one-run games this season? By the way, for the record, the Cardinals are 14th in one-run games this year. They got a 52% win percentage. They're 22-20. So they're about 50-50, which is around the mark for they're literally league average, right? Slightly above. To your point, too many one-run games.
League average in a lot of categories this year.
Yeah, that's probably in line with what you'd expect. So who's the worst one-run team?
Including their 66-66 win-loss record at the moment. They are dead on.
Literally average.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Who's the worst?
In one-run games, could be the D-backs.
D-backs are pretty good in one-run games, man. They're top 10. They're 22-18.
They got the second most comeback wins in baseball, including another one today, which is nice.
The San Francisco Giants are 11-23 in one-run games, and the Philadelphia Phillies are the best at 23-11. Toronto Blue Jays, they struggle in one-run games. They've been in a lot of them as well. They've been in 38 of them. Not quite as many as the Cardinals, but they're 17-21 in one-run games. You're right. Like those, but the teams at the top, I mean, the Dodgers, they're in fourth. The Texas Rangers, the Phillies, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Chicago Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Chicago White Sox, like all those teams are in that position for a playoff spot. And if you have a high win percentage in one-run games, yeah, if you win the close ones, you're probably there. Eh, Rolsey?
Yeah, and I mean that it speaks volumes to where the Phillies are. And Spoon talked about it there. I mean, we were talking during the week about where this team would be if maybe if Mattingly was the manager to begin with. Like there's been some of that Don magic. And he spoke really well about how he feels like this team's come together whenever they did that Netflix broadcast of the Field of Dreams game. And I think he's just letting these guys play freely. And it's weird how getting a contact guy at the deadline and Luis Ariz and putting him in the middle of your order has made that team come together, because there's no respite at all in that lineup. Like seeing the Cardinals play them in two different series over the last 2 weeks, there's just no let up. There's nobody you can pitch to. And even when you get to the back end of their lineup, you've got to face Crawford in the 9 spot, who, if anybody's on base, he's going to lay down a bunt. He's going to beat it out for a base hit half the time. So it's such a Don Mattingly type roster now, too, because he's got so many guys that can hit for contact. And he's got Kyle Schwarber, who can at any time hit a ball 500 feet in the leadoff spot. So Spoon and I did an exercise a couple weeks ago while you were in a bush, Eric, where we basically said, if we could have $10, how would we spread it around to pick a team to win the World Series? And we had very different. I'm recapping you on this because I know there's no chance that you listen, because you never listen to the show. Basically Spoon and I had Spoon and I had very different.
That means that you don't listen to the show.
Oh, right. Okay. Good. Well, you just double whammied me. You're right. I didn't listen the other day. But basically, where I'm getting at is, I said, give me 5 teams or 4 teams, I guess it was, in the American League that can win it, because I think the Dodgers just get through to the World Series. Now, all of a sudden, I think I'm looking at Philadelphia, Spoon. I don't know what they are to win the World Series, but there's just something about that team where if you take away the fact that they essentially lost 21 of their first 30 games or something, they're probably going to win the East if you take away that horrible start. So I'm just curious as to what you could get them at to win the World Series.
Good question.
They're $14 at the moment from what I'm looking at. And the counter question to that, I think, I'm kind of, they're 17s on Bet365, which I think is a really good price. Counter question to that, is the lineup better than the Dodgers lineup? Because I think it is.
Top to bottom, I think it's scarier. I don't know who you pitch to.
Yeah, it's not like we'll just put this guy on because Kyle Tucker's on deck, right?
I saw you got a base hit the other day and everyone cheered.
And Alec Thomas, D-backs legend, is now playing center field because Andy Pajes got hurt. So, right now, especially if you look at those lineups, it's definitely Philly.
I'm glad that Alec Thomas
I love what they've done.
Recover from being run over by a mascot scooter in AAA that we discovered on Reddit earlier this year. Those who haven't seen it, Google it. Alec Thomas got run over by a mascot on a scooter when he was in AAA. It was pretty entertaining, but glad to see that he's recovered enough to be playing outfield for the Dodgers.
Boys, on the theme of close races, for some, not for all, the Destiny Draft leaderboard right now is pretty exciting. Tom on 23, I'm on 23, Rolsey's on 22, Spoon's on 1.
Is that good?
You've got 2 guys in the negative. That is a tough start. I'm loving this one, Rolsey. I think it's going to come down to you or I really actually do believe that it's going to be a start between Cam and Sandy. I think that's going to be what the difference is. I think Adley's kind of cooling off there. I think Scherzer might make his team go backwards in his next start for Tom. I think it's going to be you and I, man.
Yeah, well, and I've probably got no right to be there, right? The last 2 games that Randy Arozarena have had have been outrageous. He homered again today after hitting a leadoff homer and then walking it off. I saw something today, actually, not to derail from Destiny Draft, but did you, obviously PCA last week hit a leadoff home run, then hit a walk-off home run. Randy did it yesterday, where he hit a leadoff home run and a walk-off home run over PCA's head, which is insane. You know, it's the first time that it's happened in 100 years, and now it's happened twice in 2 weeks, where a guy hits a leadoff homer and a walk-off homer, and then the second guy to do it hits it over the head of the first guy to do it. That's bananas, right? Baseball's stupid.
How does that happen?
The script writers are getting lazy.
It's insane. But look, had it not been for Randy, like I wouldn't be anywhere close. But that's kind of what I thought I was going to get by drafting Randy. So I mean, he could have a week where he strikes out 10 times and doesn't get a base hit. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be. I think it's largely going to be on Cam Schlittler's shoulders. And like he had a great outing against Toronto over the weekend. He just didn't get many strikeouts. I think he went 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run, but he only struck out 3. So it wasn't really a big points accumulator for me. So yeah, hopefully he can get down to business this week and give me my 3rd consecutive win, which probably still won't be enough to catapult me to the top of the leaderboard.
It might.
So have we got 1 round left or 2 rounds left?
We have 2 rounds left, right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think we've got someone lined up for next week, but what we wanted to do for the last week was throw it out there as like a Hall of Fame callback guest slot for everyone to vote their favorite listener throughout the year. There's been some good candidates, both as far as competitive level of Destiny Draft, but also the banter and the smack talking that's come with it. So I don't know if we want to do like a poll bracket on Instagram or socials or something like that, and then try and get like the 8 guys that have come, whoever comes out of that, final 8 through the way, they'll be our round 9 pick.
We got to figure out the next one because we're going to be having this Destiny Draft night on the day that Rolsey gets back from Taiwan, which is cool, but also the night of our fantasy football draft. So we might have to double barrel this. Maybe Spoon, you and I just go to the pub earlier and like do it in person, just have like a drink and a schnitty after for our fantasy football draft. Is that how we should play this?
At a minimum, I need to start drinking before drafting in Destiny Draft anyway. So if it's in a social environment, I can probably justify it a little bit better too.
Yeah, and then get ready for our big fantasy football draft, which Rolsey's in the league this year, which is good.
And I'm pick 1, which I'm sick about.
As well.
Oh yeah, did we get
breaking the 4th wall a little bit? The listeners should know that Spoon drafting his own team has been horrible in Destiny Draft, and that fantasy football draft was basically picked by a Destiny Draft style where Spoon pulled Shane Baz, and he ended up winning so that he has the 1st overall pick. So a player that he didn't have the ability to pick wins and gives Spoon the 1st pick, which he doesn't want. But the teams that he has been able to pick over the last 3 weeks have struggled to score a point at all. So, Spoon, I don't know what that says about your impending fantasy football draft, but I would, as the defending champion of that league, I would be worried.
Yeah, look, I mean, the last 6 weeks or so, it's very much been the case of I'm an on-pace runner, get out of the gates well, but wear a heavy 10, and by race 7, race 8, the inside's all chopped to bits, right? And everyone's coming down the grandstand side. That's how it's felt recently. You're the back marker, you're swooping, they're running on, and I'm in a lot of trouble.
I didn't understand any of that, but I'm not a horse guy.
Someone didn't watch Morphettville on the weekend.
It all works. It works. It was accurate.
Is that a pun?
More of a metaphor, I think.
Well, I just said it tracks. Or you said it tracks. Off we go.
A pun, I suppose.
Anyways, we digress. But boys,
Mondays.
Mondays. It's on a weird timeline. We're thrown all out of whack. Quick note, by the way, just in the international world, that's worth touching on. John Kennedy, friend of the show, friend of the pod, friend of us in general, Australian, now the replacement for Lockie Wells, who's injured in the KBO. He picked up a W on the weekend. He pitched really well, made a cool defensive play in the KBO. So there's another Aussie doing well on there. You can follow everything on Aussie Baseball Tracker on our website. John Kennedy is part of all of that action as well, including some Aussies that did get called up. Clayton Campbell, did you see that? He got called up and hit a homer in Double-A, Rolsey. So that's pretty cool. So there's your little humble plug for the Pro Tracker on the Baseball Expats website.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could have him back in Sydney in the Australian Baseball League season, but all accounts are he's going to stay in the United States again. I'd love to have Clayton back in a Blue Sox uniform, but we digress. We can't have everything we want, right?
Yeah, you can. Anyways, but back to it. Let's quickly hear though we've jumped all over the place to our fantasy football, but he's in this league too. I think he tied with me on points. So we need to figure out what that tiebreaker is. But Tom, he's in our fantasy football league. He's in the Destiny draft list, the Destiny draft as well. He's the listener spot. He is in first place by virtue of a point, I think, at the moment. You can follow that standings online too. Let's jump over to some picks. This is going to be for the Tuesday or the Monday game of slates in the North American hemisphere and in Australia, if you're listening there for Tuesday. Spoon, do you have anything good for us?
I like to think I do. I guess time will tell. We'll figure that out tomorrow. Look, first one I want to play tomorrow is in Washington. Rockies at Nationals. I don't know if you guys know this, but Cade Cavalli has been going ballistic recently. His last start, he struck out 11 Rangers on just 84 pitches, 14 swinging strikes, had all his stuff working, looked super. Start before that, 8 scoreless, 1-run innings of 10 strikeouts against the Cubs. So these are decent lineups. It's not like he's just beating up on, the minnows of the baseball world. Tomorrow he gets to go against that team in the Colorado Rockies. I wanted to play this for a couple of ways with the best value of the day tomorrow. So it's going to be a same game multi. It's kind of a setup that those following along on Twitter and the website will have noticed more and more in recent weeks. I really like both sides of the matchup for the Nationals. So our base bet's going to be over 3.5 team totals for the Nat. So 4 or more runs, and Cavalli to get 6 or more strikeouts. That's paying $2.05. But I think there's super value in the top up, which is over 5.5 runs for the Nationals, and Cavalli 8 or more strikeouts. That's paying $7.25. The Nationals are still one of the best offenses in baseball. They're scoring more runs per game than anyone still, even with James Wood on the IL and Luis Garcia getting traded away. Everything the Nationals are doing is still fun, and I don't think that's going to change tomorrow against this Rockies pitching stuff.
I didn't realize he was rolling like that.
ERA of 3.22, 162 strikeouts in 142 innings. I don't know what his futures lines were like before the season, but anything, I think he would have had probably a line similar to Shota, which was 140 for even money. So to be at 162 with a few starts left, like he's having a sneaky, really good season for the Nats.
In his last 7 starts, a 0.93 whip as well. So just not a lot of base runners. That's crazy. Go back to, wow. How much longer is he under team control for, I wonder?
Well, it's only his 3rd season. He had TJ and missed 2 years, right? So he only had 1 outing in 2022, had TJ when he was a 23-year-old, missed 2023, missed 2024. So I don't know what that does to his clock. I'll probably be able to bring it up on Spotrac real quickly to see when he's going to hit his. He's got 3 more years of arbitration. He's not a free agent until 2030. So I wasn't wrong about the Nats. I was just early. They're coming. Look out. Connolly early. No pun there, but he's going to be a big piece of that team soon as well.
I wonder if what's the eligibility for Rookie of the Year? Because if he's only pitched 50 innings before, there must have been something on there. He's not eligible. I just looked it up. Anyways.
We sort of spoke about that at the beginning of the season. It's a weird pitchers for Rookie of the Year is very strange. It's always plate appearances. I can't remember exactly what the numbers are. But it'll be interesting on that. Like you talk about a guy like Cavalli, because I mean they're talking about it a lot in like St. Louis media circles. Jordan Walker's like why he wouldn't sign an extension now, because it seems as though even the owners are kind of leaning toward one less year of team control as part of the CBA agreement. Like it seems like the players want it and the owners have already conceded to it. So it's that is gonna be really strange if players all of a sudden are eligible a year earlier after this CBA, kind of what that does to the free agent market. And like a guy like Cavalli, all of a sudden, if there's no baseball next year, and then that CBA agreement brings it forward a year, then all of a sudden he's a free agent, right? Like it's crazy to kind of think about how that could happen. Like he could throw his last pitch for the Nats, not play a game next year because there's no baseball, and then all of a sudden be a free agent in 2028. Like there's a possibility that could happen, right? It's crazy to think about.
All right, Spoon, what do you got for us for tip number 2 now that we're on the Cade Cavalli bandwagon?
Okay, so the second one is going to be in Seattle. And look, things for Seattle are really ugly. When we did our episode last week and we played a little bit of Did It Happen, catching Eric back up to speed on all things baseball, I asked him if he thought that it was possible that the Seattle Mariners had conceded 34 runs in 3 games. He said not a chance. Turns out that they had. We're now 3 games on, and they've conceded 64 runs in the last 6 games. They had a 19 spot put on them by the Cubs today. And the pitching is just all over the place. They even tried calling up the top pitching prospect in baseball on the weekend, Cade Anderson. He was good till he wasn't. They went back to back off him, the Cubs, but he looked really sharp early. I just don't think he's got the length yet. I want to go a little bit against this trend because now more than ever, the Mariners need their ace to shove. Speaking of Logan Gilbert, he's been okay without being brilliant recently, but tomorrow he's going to need to be at his best because the Phillies are bringing Zach Wheeler out on the mound. So my best of the day tomorrow is Gilbert and Wheeler to both get 6 or more strikeouts at $2.10. There'll be some kind of top up there, maybe taking it up to 7s or 8s, but I'll wait and see the pricing when everyone else releases theirs tomorrow. But I think it's really now or never for the Mariners in what's been a miserable season. And if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen with Logan Gilbert.
Interesting. That's also big for the Destiny draft implications, my friend. You got a few things to cheer for.
I always do. It just never ends well.
Yeah, so now I intend to think that just because you've double-barreled on it that I'm nervous about this one all of a sudden. Happens. Well, there's a couple picks for the day. Rolsey, I appreciate you jumping on board. You can catch the picks on baseballexpats.com, by the way. Rolsey, thanks for joining us from your floodlands in Taiwan. Look forward to listening to you this week. Spoon will catch up on Friday for a bit of a weekend pickoff, but make sure you follow the page for some updates in the meantime, and have a happy week of baseball, everybody. See you later.